Welcome to time management, where we're going to look at the 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds that we have in a day. So time is something that we cannot save, we cannot borrow. We are not able to lend it or leave it or take it. You have two options with it. You either use your time or you lose it. So we're going to look at 10 strategies that help you to manage that time more effectively. So when we refer to time management, we're talking about a range of skills. We're talking about tools, techniques that are used to manage the events that happen in our lives. We are looking at the 10 strategies that can help with effective management in events in your life and your relationship. So we're going to look at finding strategies that work best for you, that depend on your personality. They may depend on your culture, your circumstances, or your priorities, but you must look critically at how it can be in tough issues like what we are facing right now. So we are looking at how these strategies might be more effective for you. So what happens when we're not managing that time most effectively? We are looking at something that's stressful. We're looking at things that might be tasks that take longer. We're looking at we might get ill or fatigued. We may have a disorganization, or we may feel a lack of accomplishment. So practicing good time management skills can result in a higher level of productivity, more energy, less stress, the ability to get things done, a positive relationship, and increased self-esteem. And so our bodies respond to stress in situations that can be unpleasant and threatening. So we're going to look at some of these issues and how you may be able to make some changes to better manage your time. So our first strategy that we're going to talk about is how you spend your time. So this is becoming aware of how you use your time and improve your time management. So this is looking at how do you spend your time. If you look at it in a pie chart, we've got 6 general categories of things like exercise, education, sleep, family, work, and hobbies. But do those all get an equal amount of time? Do you divide that by 6 and get an equal distributing of each of those events in that time budget? So the best way to kind of figure out how you are spending your time in the ideal world versus in the reality world is to maintain a daily log of how you spend your time. You might be surprised how much time you spend on a phone call, on interruptions, on social media platforms, on taking a break, on preparing meals, all those kinds of things. But the best way to do this is to do it over the course of 7 days, to figure out what your new time schedule might look like, what it may look like now versus what it might have looked like 4 weeks ago. It's going to look different. So it's embracing that and figuring out how you are spending that time. Our next strategy 2, is setting your priorities. So this is looking at the keys to prioritizing, demonstrating what the most important things are for you. While you may be working from home, working in very different circumstances, setting the priorities of what looks like at home versus what it looks like, what work needs to be done, what are urgent tasks, what are not urgent tasks, what are going to be missions and goals and values for you to finish priorities. So if you think about this, close your eyes for a minute and you have an empty jar. So your jar represents what your schedule looks like. Now we're going to add our larger rocks in our imagination. So add those rocks. Those rocks are the important tasks. So those are the big things in your life, like your family, your job, your exercise, your home life, your whatever that looks like for you. So take a minute and imagine what those large rocks look like. Now we're going to add the gravel. This gravel represents some of those smaller, less priorities in our lives. Then we add the sand, and if you imagine that the gravel's filled in between the rocks and now the sand has filled in all those empty spaces, so this is all those extra tasks, anything extra going on, things like that. Now you add in the water. So once you add in the water, that fills your jar to the complete rim. So the moral of the story in the imagination of this jar is to think that you can make time for your big rocks. But if you put them into your schedule last, you're not going to have room for those priorities. So it's just remembering what your priorities are and managing those skills. The next strategy is use a planning tool. Have the planning tool. This planning tool is going to look different for every person. And so the planning tool, it can be something that's easy to read, something for upcoming events, meetings, appointments. Is it that you have to have it written in a paper calendar and that's how you remember? Do you have to have a to-do list? Does it have to be color-coded? Is it electronic, a smartphone? Just figure out the strategy of the planning tool that works best for you. And that's not going to be the same as your coworkers or your families. So it's finding what you can all use for a family schedule. Our fourth strategy is figure out how to get organized. So get organized. Remove the clutter from whatever area you're working in. Steps to getting this organization is create a keep, giveaway, and a toss pile. This is a method that can be used to remove that clutter. So once your clutter is gone, you can implement a system that allows you to handle less and only use what's for a purpose. Conquering the clutter in your life, it can be your mind clutter, but it can also be that physical of that room clutter, that house clutter. Figuring out how to get rid of it. And things that we say sometimes for keeping stuff is, someday I'll use that. It's too good to throw away. It'll be worth something one day. Remember all those Beanie Babies you got in the closet? Or it'll come back in style. It is a gift. Or I paid good money for it. Or of course when I lose weight, I'll wear it. Put these things aside and go ahead and declutter and organize those environments. Strategy 5 is scheduling appointments. So this is carefully scheduling your time that can lead you to having more time. So this is looking at knowing yourself. So when are you most productive and alert? Are you an early morning person, a midday person, or are you a night owl? When are you most productive? Then, when do you tend to overcommit? Think about this. When do you overcommit your time? As we go to a virtual online teleconferencing, teleworking, be aware of how you schedule your online meetings, your time. Don't find that balance of responsibility. Make sure that you're only scheduling 70% of your time. And block out time for your high priorities first. So, what's important? Is it important for you to have a family meal around the table? That needs to be on your calendar first. Is it important for you to exercise? That typically needs to be written down too. So, when we set these priorities, you want to look at this quote. There is always enough time for the important things. Even the busiest people that we have find time for what they want to do. Not because they have any time, more time than anybody else, but it's because they think in terms of making time by carefully scheduling. So, just remember to carefully schedule your time. Strategy 6 looks like delegation. Who's good at it? Not everybody, right? So, you want to make sure that when you are delegating that you find tasks that people are able to accomplish. And don't set them up to fail. Set them up to succeed. Reward them. So one thing is, if you're talking about children and having children at home, creating a chore chart can be a great tool. So you can either do this by creating some little magnets with chores on it to go on your refrigerator or a magnet board that you create. Or there's tons of templates online for chore charts and what they can look like for your task. But when you talk about some age-appropriate chores, when you're talking about a 2-year-old or older, they can help throw away trash. They can help put their clothes in a dirty hamper. They can move clothes to the dryer with your help. They can help fold some of their laundry. They can carry their dishes. They can help you in the yard, pull some weeds. They can clean, help you with some cleaning tasks. They can dress themselves. If you're talking about a 4-year-old, let them clean up the mess. Let them have the task of feeding an animal. Let them help you put away dishes. Let them help you set or clear a table. Let them prepare a simple snack. Let them help you clean some floors. When we talk about children that are the age of 6, they can help you sweep. They can help you put away their own laundry. They can help with some leaves or dusting some furniture. When you talk about the age 8 and older, they can put away their own clothes. They can help clean showers, toilets. They can help prepare lunches. They can help put away groceries. When you get into a 12-year or a 10-year-old, you can do some laundry. You can change bed linens. They can help with cleaning the kitchen. There's other tasks. And then when you get into 12 and older, you can start looking at giving them a little bit more responsibility of their own. They may even be able to help watch some of their younger siblings. And on those chore charts, if you don't want to use one that's hanging on your wall somewhere, you can also look into some apps. So you've got a Chore Monster app that helps you give your kids the task. You have a You Rule Chores. And so just browse the app store and see what kind of apps you can find. 7 is stop procrastinating. When we put things off, we get poor time management. So putting things off, you do not want to put things off because a lot of times we just end up putting off rougher tasks until later. Usually, chronic procrastination is considered a lifestyle for about 20% of our population. So promote your own self progress. Make sure check your email. Try not to multitask, and don't put things off. How to stop procrastinating? We got 10 tips for you. Break big projects into some small, manageable ones. Jumpstart yourself by breaking your pre-project tension. Use a Swiss cheese method that's poking holes in your project. Do easy tasks, quick tasks, and get them accomplished. Or do the hard and most unpleasant task first. Set aside about 30 minutes of uninterrupted work time on a project to help yourself focus. Remove distractions. This one's going to be real important. You can use plugs or just set those perimeters up. This is when I'm working. Say positive things to yourself like, I can do it, I should do it. Aim for the best to allow yourself to be good enough. Celebrate your small accomplishments and reward yourself for small steps as you work towards a final project. Look at strategy 8. This one's going to be real important, right? So, look to manage your external time wasters. Identify some of the most common ways that you are wasting time and addressing ways to minimize those time wasters. Don't let it happen to you. So we are all bombarded today in today's world with our multiple platforms of online interconnection, social media, right? So think about that. How can you manage the extra time wasters? How can you set those perimeters on yourself? You can do things that help you, like separate when you're on a phone call. Make sure that you are, maybe schedule it if you need to have a few minutes with somebody. If you are on meetings, whether they're in person or virtual, don't schedule it if it's not needed. Know what the purpose is of that meeting in advance. Be on time for it so that others will respect your time as well. Start and end when something is scheduled. And stick to an agenda the best you can. That's going to help everyone. When you're looking at email and mail, make sure that you set aside time to check it. Don't let it be something that is in your all day, every moment of the day. Let it be what you do at the beginning and end of your day if you're checking email. Try not to let it pop up and take you down a rabbit hole. We've all got some family obligations, but make sure that these are on the calendar so that everyone knows an event, a due date, an appointment. Make sure that your family remembers the activities and have a location in your house where everyone can see a message. And then strategy 9 is avoid multitasking. Why would you avoid it? It doesn't really save you very much time. It limits what your concentration is, and it restricts your focus. And then strategy 10. It's going to be important, especially over the next few weeks. Take care of yourself and stay healthy. Taking care of ourselves is very important. It's very important to keep a regular exercise. It's important to find some healthy nutrition, and opportunities for continuing learning should always be a part of your schedule. When you're looking to stay healthy, you need to be one of your first priorities in that jar we talked about. It needs to be one of your big rocks because it's important to stay healthy. For those of us who are used to thinking that others need to go first, this can be difficult. But thinking of meeting your own personal needs as taking care of yourself is a piece of equipment. You need to maintain this. Take time to relax and pursue your own interests and try to keep a positive outlook. So you can do something like try a new recipe, practice some yoga, read a novel, read a leadership book. Find something that helps you stay healthy. Think about reducing stress. This can be done in a numerous of ways, and it's going to be different for each person. It is important to schedule your relaxation time into your day. That can be part of your scheduling time, however much you need it to be. Relax, even if it's for only a few minutes. It can help boost your concentration levels. Your productivity declines when you're tired. Most people can concentrate and breathe deep. You can regain your energy. Just take a few minutes to help. Make this a timeout for yourself to refocus your mind. Exercise. This looks different for all of us. You can do it in a chair. You can do it running down a block. Just find what exercise works best for you to help keep you moving. Good nutrition is an important contribution to all of these strategies. You can use the MyPlate guidelines. These can be found on the myplate.gov, or you can download the MyPlate Start Simple with MyPlate app. And this can just be something that you and your kids can do together. Focus on fruits and vegetables making up half of your plate. Make it a variety. Give yourself a rainbow of a plate. Don't skip a meal. Avoid fad diets. Go with a lean proteins. And look what is nutritious. Skip the things that are processed and in a bag. Be careful eating those things. Thank you for joining me today. If you will please fill out the evaluation that is in the link.